And this one's for Coach. By the way, Coach, basically every time I write a post, I sure wish that you would make some awesome response to it. That's usually my goal. And very few times do you ever grace one of my posts with your presence. So I'm happy about this. You said, you quoted me a couple times, and then you said, those things have happened to me when I was drunk. Obviously, alcohol isn't considered a hallucinogen, but I've certainly drank enough on several occasions that I've hallucinated. Not the kind of mind-expanding hallucination you are talking about here, just stuff like I can swear I see shit flying in the sky and no one else sees. Or I'm talking about this dog that I'm talking to that no one but I can see. In all cases, they are very short-lived. Kind of like the proverbial pink elephant that they make fun of for drunks for seeing, or like Billy Madison thought he was seeing in the giant penguin. And it only happens when I've drank a potentially dangerous amount of hard liquor. Have you ever hallucinated when drinking insane amounts of high-test liquor? Well, to answer that question, I have to do it in several pieces. First off, what is a hallucination? Does a hallucination mean that you have to see something that isn't there? No. It can be that. I think everybody hallucinates a little bit on alcohol. Everybody's had that time when they went in to kiss a girl that they thought was into them, and it turns out she really wasn't. I mean, that feels to me like a hallucination, where you clearly thought something existed that just wasn't there. And alcohol is all about getting us to an altered state, and at some sense that altered state may be a very weak hallucination, and the stronger that altered state is, it could very well turn into a hallucination. Has anything that powerful ever happened to me where I've actually seen a thing? Well, I wouldn't know, because I get so drunk that I black out and I attack people and shit, and I think everyone wants to fight, and so I don't know if I see anything that isn't there, but I definitely think a lot of things that just don't exist, and that to me is a hallucination. Alcohol is a very nasty thing. There's a war against hallucinogens, and there should be a war against alcohol. Not anything against you, Rich, or anyone. I mean, clearly I have a problem with this stuff when I drink it. As people who knew me, who wrote with me on this site know, a few years ago, I was out of control with the alcohol, attacking people, and just, fuck, what a dickhead the alcohol made me into, and that I allowed it to make me into. I'll still drink whenever I get off probation, but an interesting thing is drinking while eating mushrooms. And I guess I get so fucked up that I just never really notice the difference, or if there is any difference. I think I had taken mushrooms and I shot them whiskey chasers afterwards. And I fried balls a little bit, but I didn't really notice, and I didn't notice that I was very drunk at all. So I think they might counteract one another. But we had an insane experience I'll tell you about. We ate mushrooms and shot them down with whiskey, and then decided somewhere along the line that it was a good idea. We had a body high at this point, I remember that. And we decided somewhere along the way that it was a good idea to go into the woods and try and find this cave. It was like 11 at night. I mean, it was dark now. And we didn't get out to this trail till about midnight. And the weirdest thing happened. This guy who was part of some neighborhood watch, because this trail was coming into this apartment complex. It's where you had to get onto this trail. This guy was part of some watch or some security thing, and he drove up, and I don't know if he knew that we were frying balls or what was going on, but he said the scariest shit in the world to us. He said, don't go into them there woods. Bad things happen in there, and bad people live in there. And whoa, we are already frying, and this is already kind of scary, and you just made it 10 times worse. Long story short, we ended up freaking the fuck out about a mile in, and we just ran back out and made things even worse. We were having a very bad time. And I ended up getting sick in the apartment when I got home, and I threw up. And when I threw up, my mouth was closed, and it came out my nose, and mushrooms came out of my nose. Little tiny mushrooms. It was awful. So I hope I answered your question a little bit, and kind of talked about, liquor and alcohol. So that's it.